Hello and good evening, Mr. KTR. Thank you for joining me here on Times Now. The budget has been presented, budget number 1 of Modi 3.0. The finance minister has looked after everybody, she says, from youth to middle classes, to private sector, to startup India, to farmers, to all families who are looking for homes and jobs. Would you like to compliment the finance minister and congratulate her for a budget that satisfies all, or will you still find fault with this budget? Because that's what quintessentially the opposition is meant to do in this country.
It's not the quintessential opposition and, our stand vis-a-vis the union budget. The fact, Navika ji, is, the state of Telangana, which was formed 10 years ago, it was made, number of promises were made by the union government. Unfortunately, today's budget seems, less like a union budget and more like Andhra and Bihar budget combined. Because, the two allies, I don't find fault with them, I think have been able to extract their pound of flesh. And I think it's a refreshing change to see the NDA government actually acceding to the demands of the allies, because I think people of India also will realize now that the national parties will only budge when they vote for strong regional parties who can then dictate terms and get their way by way of fund allocation. Today, if you look at the budget allocations, Bihar has gotten more than 26,000 crores of additional money beyond devolution, beyond all the usual government schemes that are promised. And Andhra has got more than 15,000 crores just for its capital development. Now, the big question that I think everybody should be asking in India is, if, this additional money only goes to those people on whom the government is dependent, then I think the rest of India also should be voting in similar lines. Strong regional parties so that they can arm twist the national parties, BJP, Congress, and get their way in future.
Well, in which case you have a long wait, because elections in Telangana are a long way off for now for the people to decide that. But Andhra Pradesh getting importance. Let's just face it, in coalition politics, allies are given importance. Just like the anti-Modi alliance got together, they were fighting with each other in some states, but in New Delhi, they had a relationship, that would put Laila Majnu to shame. So, that's the way Indian politics does work. Can you find fault with that? And can you find fault with the Modi Sarkar giving in to the demands of Andhra Pradesh and Bihar in this case?
I'm not begrudging anything that Andhra and Bihar have gotten. In fact, my compliments to, the people of both states for voting wisely and ensuring that they get their pound of flesh, like I said, from union government. But the big question is, every single, citizen of this country pays taxes. Modi ji ka nara raha hai ki sabka saath, sabka vikas. पर अगर आज आप भूल जाते हो कि 10 साल पहले आपने जो वादा किया by way of a law that was enacted in parliament, and you don't deliver on that promise of providing new educational institutions to Telangana, creating a new tribal university, setting up an integrated steel plant at Bayaram, setting up an Indian Institute of Management, setting up an ICER, setting up industrial corridors, not one of them has been fulfilled in the last 10 years. That is truly shocking, because 10 साल काफी वक्त होता है. अभी आप कह रही थी कि NDA 3.0, Modi 3.0. So I'm saying 10 years post, two successive governments and first budget into the third government as well. Unfortunately, Telangana does not seem to find favor with the dispensation in Delhi, which is truly tragic.
Well, so let me ask you, how do you respond to Rahul Gandhi's charge that this budget is a kursi bachao budget, because there is more for the alliance partners than for anybody else? Is it really kursi bachao, or is Rahul Gandhi still smarting from the loss in the general elections that their coalition hasn't been able to come to power?
I think, Navika, one thing is for sure. After the general elections recently, one thing is certain. I don't think either Congress or BJP have it in them in the future to come in on their own and, cross the magic figure of 272. So I think the big lesson for electorate in India today is The fact that today NDA government is acceding to the demands of their coalition partners in Andhra and Bihar, I think the rest of India needs to take a leaf out of Chandrababu Naidu ji's and Nitish Kumar ji's book. No matter who runs India tomorrow, it's going to be a coalition government. So people need to vote wisely, vote strong regional players, make sure their voice is heard in Delhi. Because, south of India, sometimes we tend to get looked over. So therefore, I think it's important to endorse strong regional parties, vote for them, give them adequate number of seats, make sure that your demands are met with in days to come, in future to come. Yes, I know it's a long way away, but I think this is just a good beginning.
But how can you say that states in the south get looked over? In fact, they're supposed to be the states that get the lion's share of private sector investment. The IT hubs in Hyderabad, in Bengaluru, Chennai being the auto hub. Clearly a fair share of investments from the private sector have come there. It is, in fact, if anything, states in the east that have been lagging behind more than the states in the south. So for you to say that, tad unfair?
No, absolutely not. 19% of India, which is in the southern India, contributes to about 36% of India's GDP. Now, if we start attributing that to the IT sector here, the auto sector here, yes, but that is despite the union government. It is mostly the state governments that have driven the economic growth, that have fueled the economic activity here. Now, to penalize those performing states which are contributing to the nation building is definitely unjust. I would certainly say that we need a just share of resources. Why are we not being given, what has been promised to us? We have been promised a new Indian Institute of Management. We've been promised a tribal university. We have been promised the Steel Authority of India integrated steel plant. This was all 10 years ago. Now, if you tell me that 10 or 11 years is not enough for the Modi government or NDA government to deliver on the promises made, then it's truly, truly a travesty, if you ask me. Contributors cannot be penalized just because we are, contributing robustly to nation building. I don't think we should be looked down or, looked away.
Well, do you think the Congress government in Telangana has the kind of relationship that is required, especially when reforms are spoken of in this budget? And these reforms do require a lot of participation of states. Do you think our federal system in the country actually supports states also to look at the overall big picture of India as a whole rather than just playing petty politics? Look at the reform picture, whether it is, land records, labor reforms, other issues. Do you think somewhere along the line we've forgotten those priorities in our politics of the country?
Navika ji, in fact, any day I would prefer competitive federalism and cooperative federalism over any coercion or any bullying tactics from the union government in Delhi by way of brute force. I would any day say that, it's healthy for a democracy like India and for the Indian Republic at large for states to argue, debate and dissent if need be on a number of issues with the union government. Yes, there are issues where we have to work with each other, cutting across our party affiliations, our own ideologies, etc. And there are issues where we also have to take a stand. So I do not really find fault with either Congress or any other political party for that matter, which tends to differ on an issue-by-issue basis with the union government. But it's also important for us to realize, and for the union government mostly, to also take us into confidence, all the political parties in the country, cutting across, various, state lines, etc., and ensure that we are all taken into confidence while policies are being formulated, policies are being drafted, and not imposed upon us.
Am I sensing, Mr. KTR, you going soft on the Congress party, especially after there virtually has been a daylight robbery of all your MLCs, MLAs, MPs? Are you now making peace with the Congress party?
If anything, in fact, I should be pulling out daggers and fighting with them. So there's no going soft in Congress
But
whatsoever.
You're not, which is why I'm asking, are you building bridges?
It's always issue-based Navika, remember, there are no enemies in politics, we're only opponents. So it's not like I have to fight with the Congress on every single occasion, on every single matter. In fact, today, if anything, I have to fight with the union government, which is spearheaded by BJP, which has done great injustice to Telangana. So when my state is not receiving what it is supposed to receive, I don't think I should be blaming the opposition in Parliament. I should be blaming the government in Parliament. So therefore, today I am speaking out on behalf of my state as a citizen, as a legislator, as a lawmaker, for the benefit of my state. So there is no question whatsoever, of going soft in Congress. We will fight them tooth and nail in the state assembly here. We are the principal opposition here. They are in government here. But in Delhi, it is BJP that is running the show. Therefore, today's union budget is definitely, full of injustice to Telangana. And the only party that needs to be blamed is most certainly BJP first, and then possibly Congress, because they may not have done enough to raise the issues there in Parliament.
Well, KTR, extremely, good to hear such mature conversation in the Indian political scene, because very often local politics determines at least the rhetoric that's put out. But let me ask you, when the government and when the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announces an employment-linked incentive, announces an internship scheme, announces tax cuts for the middle classes, does away with the angel tax, do you think enough has been done on the front of the private sector to spur up growth, something that's extremely important at this juncture in our economy?
No, I certainly don't think enough has been done, and enough is being done. This country needs bold reforms, and the industry has been asking for a number of years. I have been an industry minister for a very long time. I have pleaded also with Mr. Sitharaman. I was just hearing Mr. Piyush Goyal speak. I have pleaded with Mr. Goyal as well, and even the Prime Minister, to actually make some bold moves and bold reforms, especially post-COVID. Unfortunately, those reforms have not come about. Unfortunately, we still keep languishing in terms of support for entrepreneurs, support for industry, the wealth creators, the employment creators. But I do have, still I do have a lot of belief in this country and its growth potential, because a lot of things that happen in India are despite governments. Please don't get me wrong when I say this. A lot of the success stories that you see in India, the unicorns, the startups, the brilliant stories, the poster boys, the poster girls, most of these are despite the government. So I do not have great hope on governments acting as huge revving up engines as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. But yes, there is a lot that can be done. But I just hope, I've heard Mr. Sitharaman's speech in parts today. I just hope there's no slip between the cup and the lip, because she had announced, I remember, post-COVID, a 20 lakh crore stimulus package. I've never ever gotten an answer on how much of that has actually translated into reality post-COVID. So therefore, I just hope there is no slip between the cup and the lip, and I hope the union government lives up to the promises it has made.
Well, hope and a prayer, that's what people of India have, that all of that announcements in the budget will be implemented, will be converted to reality, because this is a country that's aspirational, and this is a country in a hurry to catch that bus which many say we missed decades ago. Will that happen? Well, we'll wait and watch. Thank you very much, KTR, for joining me on Times Now. Always a pleasure speaking with you, and we hope to see you more often.